Good afternoon. My name is Dorothy McGuire. I'm co-president of the League of Women Voters of Elmhurst, along with Jan Dorner. We welcome you this afternoon to our forum. The League of Women Voters of Elmhurst invited both candidates for the Illinois Senate District 23 for a forum. Candidate Suzy Glowiak-Hilton was the only one to accept. It should be noted that the League has an empty chair policy, which prohibits a forum with only one candidate participating in a forum. So candidate Glowiak-Hilton will give a 2-minute statement. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Suzy Glowiak-Hilton. I am currently the state senator in the district. I was born on a farm, grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago. I've been a resident of Western Springs for over 25 years, and I was first elected to the Senate in 2018. I'm an engineer, and I use those skills to make data-driven decisions in the Senate. Some of the accomplishments that we have made in the Senate, including some of the things I've done, is I voted to make sure that a woman's right to choose would be protected in Illinois despite the Supreme Court striking down Roe versus Wade. I passed a law to fight organized retail crime and better enable prosecutors to bring charges. And I sponsored a measure to improve our ethics laws by prohibiting legislators from lobbying their colleagues right after they leave office. Make no mistake, choice is on the ballot this year, and I'm the only candidate in this race who will fight to protect a woman's right to choose. We also need common sense gun laws, really good common sense that helps keep our communities safe. I am a co-sponsor of a measure that would ban assault weapons which don't belong on our streets. One of the other things we accomplished was banning ghost guns, which are untraceable, which also should make our streets safer. I really appreciate the League of Women Voters allowing me to speak today. And you can learn more if you look at my website, suzyforsenate.com. Thank you.
The League of Women Voters of Elmhurst invited both candidates for the Illinois Representative District 45 for a forum. Candidate Jenn Ladisch-Douglass was the only one to accept. It should be noted that the League has an empty chair policy, which prohibits a forum with only one candidate participating in a forum. So candidate Ladisch-Douglass will give a 2-minute statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenn Ladisch-Douglass, and I am the Democratic candidate for the 46th District House seat here in Illinois. My website is votejld.com. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing this event and for their gracious invitation to attend today. I appreciate all the work they do, and I appreciate being here. A little bit about me: I'm from a rural area outside of Philadelphia, and I've lived in Illinois for 18 years. I met my husband, who's from Wheaton, during college, and we live here in Elmhurst with our family and work at a law firm I founded in 2011. I have been a lawyer for 23 years, and my practice has ranged from commercial litigation and general litigation to contract negotiation. I have decades of experience zealously advocating for clients and working to bring people together through negotiation and collaboration. That work brought me to Springfield because of healthcare. I've been a type 1 diabetic for 30 years, and I'm a cancer survivor, and I saw a great need across the country. I went to Springfield 6 years ago to advocate for change and help pass the insulin copay cap a couple years ago, and I got it done despite the objections of my opponent. I'm going to take my work and collaboration to Springfield with me to work for the people of this district and continue to work to make sure that we have what we need. I am a gun sense candidate. I'm endorsed by by Sierra Club, Planned Parenthood, AFL-CIO, and a number of other entities, which you can read online. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate being here.
The League of Women Voters of Elmhurst invited all candidates for the DuPage County Board District 1 for a forum. Our candidate did not respond one candidate did not respond, and the other 2 were unable to participate. Candidate Michael Childress was the only one to accept. It should be noted that the league has an empty chair policy which prohibits a forum with only one candidate participating in a forum. Candidate Childress will give a 2-minute statement. Thank you.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters. I know I only have a short time, so I want to make sure that I get what I need to get across and talk about what's at stake in this election. My name is Michael Childress, and I'm the only Democratic candidate running for DuPage County Board in District 1. It is not hyperbolic to say our democracy is in peril. For the first time in our lifetime, we've seen the erosion of our rights. In less than 2 years, we've seen the elimination of women's reproductive freedoms, voter suppression laws being passed across the country, local election officials being threatened to the point it is difficult to recruit honest and qualified judges, school board members being followed and watched, books being banned from our schools and libraries, and even a local candidate for state representative proudly photographed at the attempted overthrow of our government. The Republican Party's silence speaks volume. The county board needs problem solvers, someone that will work with our elected officials seeking solutions to our county's complex issues. When elected to the county board, I will work with businesses and labor to recruit the best and the brightest to fill our growing need for green jobs in District 1. When you cast your vote, remember there is one party delivering locally and nationally for the people. It is the Democratic Party. We must vote Democrat up and down the ballot. I'm the only Democrat running in District 1, and it is vitally important that you only vote once. As the only Democrat on the ballot, I'm asking you to vote one and done in District 1. Thank you.
The League of Women Voters of Elmhurst invited both candidates for the District 2 Forest Preserve. District 1. I'm sorry. District 1 Forest Preserve for a forum. Candidate Michael Murray was the only one to accept. It should be noted that the league has an empty chair policy which prohibits a forum with only one candidate participating in a forum. So candidate Michael Murray from District 1 will give a 2-minute statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the League for their hard work organizing the forum, registering voters, and providing factual information on their Vote 411 website and Illinois' Voters Guide. Thank you to all who take the time to attend or listen to this forum. And finally, I want to say thank you to Marsha Murphy, who I'm running against, for her 20 years of service on the Forest Preserve Board. Since Marsha did not show up, I only have a short time to speak. If I am fortunate enough to be elected, I promise you I will show up. I've been showing up the last several months at my neighbors' doors, learning how the Forest Preserve fits into their lives and how they utilize them. And I will promise you I will continue to show up on a regular basis to the 13 forest preserves in District 1. I will show up to school districts, garden clubs, service organizations, and nonprofits to discuss the many great programs the Forest Preserve has and learn how those programs can strengthen their missions. The Forest Preserve has as part of its mission to be a part of everyone's lives. They want everyone to show up during the year. My time is just about up, so I'd like to wind up by saying something I never thought I would be able to say again in my entire life. Since Marsha Murphy has been on the board for 20 long years, that makes me the fresh young face. So if you would like to see a fresh face that shows up and is an upset candidate, please vote for me, Michael Murray, for the DuPage County Forest Preserve Commissioner in District 1, and thank you.
Welcome to the Candidate Forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Elmhurst. My name is Patty Lackman, and I am from the League of Women Voters of Central Kane County. I live in Batavia. I am not a DuPage County voter. I have no vote or no skin in any of the races today. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service for the community. Questions have been collected from the League and community members before this forum and were screened for duplication, clarity, and appropriateness for the office being discussed. The candidates have not been provided the questions before this forum. At this time, I would ask that you please turn off cell phones and other electronic devices. I would also ask that you refrain from applauding or in any other ways demonstrating support or opposition of a candidate. No campaign literature may be passed out in this room. Note cards and pencils have been provided on which to submit your questions. Questions will be screened for duplication, clarity, and appropriateness for the office being discussed. Please signal a volunteer when your question is ready for submission. Also signal a volunteer if additional note cards are needed. The first section of this forum is between the two candidates seeking to represent the DuPage County Forest Preserve as a commissioner. The candidates agreed to the ground rules that no voice, no image, or other duplication of the forum may be used by any candidate's representative or campaign in any campaign advertising. They will each present a 1-minute introductory statement, the order be determined alphabetically by last name. Then questions will be asked, and each candidate will have up to 1 minute to respond in alternating order. Closing statements will be 1 minute. Candidates, please notice the timers. When you see the stop sign, you may finish your sentence, but no paragraphs. Closing statement, our candidates for the office of the Commissioner of DuPage County Forest Preserve District are Tina Tyson Dunn and Don Kraus. We will start with our 1-minute opening with candidate Tina Tyson Dunn.
Thank you so much for that. My name is Tina Tyson Dunn, and I'm running for re-election for the District 2 Forest Preserve District. I am a longtime volunteer with the DuPage Forest Preserve and a certified master naturalist, and I wanted to put my skills to use with becoming a commissioner and representing our district, and bringing my skills and knowledge to the Forest Preserve and furthering our work that we're doing and protecting and preserving our Forest Preserve lands. It has been an honor to serve my almost 2 years so far, and I hope to gain, through watching this forum, I hope to gain your support for a further term in this Forest Preserve Board. I want to also thank the League for organizing this forum today, and I want to thank any voters that are viewing this forum, and I hope this helps you make an informed decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Candidate Don Kraus, your opening, please.
My name is Don Kraus. I'm a lifelong resident of DuPage County. I've been married to my wife, Kathy, for 39 years. I have 2 children, both married, and recently a grandson. I became involved when I saw a $41.5 million bond signed, and I had no idea that it was going on. So I'd be a very concerned citizen about that. And the more I dug into it, I wasn't happy with where the money was going. I felt that it should have been put up for a referendum, and it wasn't. So it looks like it was going to go more to brick and mortar than it was to doing parks expansion, doing forest preserve expansion, planting trees, expanding trails, and land acquisition. This is where I'm putting my conservationist background into place and my marketing and business experience. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll start with our questions. We'll start with candidate Kraus. First question is, what skills, quality, and experience do you have that you would bring to this office?
I've been a lifelong conservationist and lived that through my life in my own home. I've been a volunteer in various projects around not only DuPage County but around the area. I've worked to support the forest preserves. I've utilized their beauty and given my input and volunteered time and effort into that. I have marketing experience that I could bring to the forest preserve to better get the word out. I think there's sometimes a lack of information that is spread out there, and I could utilize my production assistance skills for making sure we're running on efficiently as possible and keeping utilization, the budgets as much as possible so that taxpayers get their greatest return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn, same question.
So yes, as I stated earlier, my skills as a certified master naturalist and a long time working with the Natural Resources Department with our Forest Preserve. I've gotten to know a lot of our staff long before becoming a commissioner and have been hands on the ground working and doing the actual restoration work that our Forest Preserve and our volunteers do. And so I'm happy to be a part of making that happen. I have a long career in finance. So I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, and I've done forecasting and budgeting. And so I'm happy to be, and very proud to be the treasurer of the Forest Preserve Commission, and proud of the work that we've done and our fiscal responsibility with the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2, starting with candidate Tyson Dunn. What are one or two of the biggest challenges facing the Forest Preserve District currently, and what are some of your solutions?
So I think the biggest challenge right now is climate change. We see flooding all over DuPage County, and our Forest Preserve helps to act as a sponge for the floods that are happening. We are out of land in this area. Unfortunately, in the west of the county, we have a lot more land available where we are helping a lot with, and we worked side by side with our county and our floodplain management. But we also are, through our restoration work, we're looking at also making sure that our plants, our trees, everything that we're planting and restoring is helping the ecosystem, helping the environment, and helping our flood management, and making sure that these plants are the right plants that should be there, getting rid of our invasive species that are basically choking out a lot of our forest preserves and not helping. And we're seeing a lot of native birds coming back, insects coming back. The studies are going positive. So we just need to keep doing that great work.
Thank you.
The encroachment of building in DuPage County is continue to go on. Just going down Spring Road, you can see where they're tearing down the small houses with the big lots and putting up big houses. This encroachment forces a lot of the flooding that happens. So we need to be working hand in hand, educating these new developments on how they can plant better, how they can help us stop that runoff of all the fertilizers, driveways, pet waste, stop that big runoff, the heavy runoff, and then before it gets into the forest preserves, where then we could be a second filter. This is a big education. We need to plant more trees and put more oxygen into the air. Trees are tremendous at pulling out carbon and putting in oxygen. We need to do some long-term planning for oaks that will be around for my great-grandchildren and into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus, what are your ideas for restoration once the Grow Mill Dam is removed?
If the Grow Mill Dam is removed, my ideas are to put together a rock-type formation that would be pleasing and still give a water flow type attraction that is there now. That's going to be missed with the residents here. I would work to get several renderings and input from the community. That's one of my goals, and I will be a representative of the people of the community. I will listen to them. I will have public forums. We will present these plans if they go forward, so that everybody's in agreement with it. They're not surprised by what happens. And we come up with a beautiful masterpiece.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn.
So I've been a part of all the planning along the way since became a commissioner, and the various departments in the Forest Preserve have kept me very up to date on all the steps that we're doing with the dam removal. There's been a lot of community outreach and feedback put into the plan, and we have fantastic restoration work that will be done. The actual dam itself will become part of the riffles in the river, and everything will be all native species that will be planted and restored along the edges of the bank. It'll be, I can't wait, it will be beautiful, and it will also be a spot for photographers to actually take pictures of the new landscape and everything. We're going to have new pathways and signage and a lot of information along the way, and a new path going under York Road and a whole new area to fish. So I really look forward to our future restoration there.
Thank you. Next question, starting with candidate Tyson Dunn. What is your knowledge of and position on the development and construction of the East Branch DuPage River Trail?
So yes, I've been a part of that as well. So the Forest Preserve commissioners are allowed to sit on so it's actually being led by the county. So when those meetings happen, we're allowed to sit on it along with county board members. Myself and Commissioner Jeff Garris have sat on those meetings. They don't happen very often, but when they do, our staff lets us know so that we're able to stay up to date, stay involved, and make sure that our voices of the community are brought forward. I am a huge supporter of the East Branch DuPage River Trail. A lot of it will be on our land, and I really look forward to seeing that happen. I know the railroad is one of the biggest hurdles that we have right now, and then south of Butterfield is another challenge through that neighborhood. But it's a path many of us really want, and I know the community in Lombardville Park would love to have that connection straight on over to between our forest preserves and to the Morton Arboretum, and I can't wait for it to happen.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus.
Yeah, I've been working with EBDRT and several other of the county, the village of Lisle. This is going to be a collaborative effort because this is going to cross a lot of different properties, the Illinois Department of Transportation, the county. The goal that I would like to see is have much of this in a green space as possible, make it a pleasant path. And we'd like to have this path as part of the north-south connector so that we can be working with the other the Great Western Trail and the Prairie Path that we have now. And this could be a way for people to leave their home, go to work, go to recreation, go to dinner. But it's going to take a big collaboration, and I'm all for that. I've already set up several meetings with some of these groups, governments, and Forest Preserve and county people, and just to have discussions on how this could possibly be done. It's in the early planning stage, so we need to start setting the plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus, what is your favorite forest preserve and why?
It's always been Herrick Lake. It's pretty close to my house. I could be there in about 12 minutes. I could drive down Warrenville Road, which is just a beautiful road to go to through the woods to get there, and come up Herrick Road and come in through the back way. And as soon as you pull in, you see the beautiful lake. It offers a wonderful flora and fauna, just a wide variety of paths you could walk. You can go through the marshes, you can go fishing, you can go boating, go picnic there. You could, like I said, in 12 minutes I can get there. I could have my lunch there, a cup of coffee, and you really get away from the daily grind that we can get. And it's a good mental break, and it's just always been easy to access for me and a fond place. I also learned how to do ultralight fishing there when I was younger after work with one of my co-workers. So it just has a fond spot in my heart for me, and with a wide variety. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn. What's your favorite forest preserve?
So for me, that's kind of asking a parent what their favorite child is. It's a little hard for me because our forest preserves are so unique. We have Fullersburg Woods that has, as a kid, I grew up going to the nature center there, and that kind of fostered a lot of my passion for nature and wildlife and learning about the history of our county. And then Willowbrook Wildlife, who in DuPage hasn't brought an animal to Willowbrook Wildlife? There's so many things I love about all of our forest preserves. For me personally, Churchill Woods is somewhere that's very close to where I grew up in Lombard and still live. It's where originally Lombard was called Babcock Grove, and they actually were founded right on the DuPage, East Branch DuPage River, right at the edge of Churchill Woods. So I'm a historian buff, and so I love that little history that's tied to my town, and it's just a forest preserve I've always gone to, and I still walk to very often down the Great Western Path, and it's right in my neighborhood. I love it.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn, do you support restoration projects?
Absolutely. That's, for me, that's my biggest goal, and to ensure that our staff has the support to do restoration work. I think that is one of our key points of what our mission is restoration and preservation. Without the restoration work, I mean, if anybody can walk into woods and see, the buckthorn and all the invasive species that we have, restoration work takes a lot of time, a lot of manpower, and it's a lot of manual labor to actually do. And I know all of our staff in the Natural Resources Department have true passion at everything that they do, and our volunteers along with them in the community. And I am 100% a huge supporter of all the restoration work we do.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus.
Yeah, restoration is essential in everything, in our forest reserves and in our lives. We need to renew, restore, and make better than what we have right now so that we can pass it on to the next generation. This is an ongoing challenge, and I'm all for it. I've always been with it. The buckthorn is one time thought to be a great idea to help separate land for people, and it's just overgrown, and it has become an issue along with some of the other invasives. Along with that, I see us getting back to planting oak trees, and when we do the restoration, putting in paths that allow us to take advantage of this new rebirth that we are putting the effort to. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus. What will you do to reach out to other forest preserve commissioners, both in and out of your party, to improve collaboration and reach solutions that are in the best interest of DuPage County?
Yeah, I've always been able to have conversations with anybody as long as they have an open mind. I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to new ideas. So I would definitely be working with other people on the board, no matter what their party is. Even if they're the same party, we're not always going to understand, and I understand that. But we have to be able to have a discussion and come up with a solution that meets the representatives in District 2. I want to be a true representative of the people of District 2 by listening to them, taking their input. Doing canvassing right now, that's been a great help for me to hear what people really want out there and what they're looking for. So I want to continue to do that, and I will share that with the other board members and the president. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn, same question.
So currently, as a board member, everything we do is we work together very strongly on the board. When we do any type of, like right now we're going into budget season, and we can't meet as a total board, as a full board. We have to, for OMA reasons, so we have to meet 2 by 2. And our president does a great job at trying to mix us up, so we're with Democrat and Republican, because it's just fostering those those relationships, and I think it's fantastic. I have I sit between two Republicans, and I have a great relationship with both of them that I feel. One of them, one commissioner and I are really passionate about our preservation of the monarchs, and we're always talking about how many monarchs we've raised this year and what we're doing to help the monarch population. And our districts I'm sandwiched between their two districts as well, so there's quite a few constituents issues that reach out to us that often overlap or right on the edge of our district, so we have to work together, and it's in the interest of everyone.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus.
He started with that.
What green environmental policies are important for DuPage County to pursue in addition to those currently in place in the Forest Preserve? I guess this is really for you, Candidate Tyson Dunn, sorry.
So right now, we just had a presentation a few weeks ago about a sustainability, basically we're program that we're looking at. We have a company that is looking at everything that we do, whether it's how people get to our forest preserves, how all of our buildings operate, what all of our resources are used, whether it's our lawnmowers, our weed whackers, our vehicles, the heating, air conditioning, everything that we can look at resource-wise in our forest preserves, we're looking at, so we can put a value on what they are and what we can actually say, okay, this is what our land is worth, but this is also where we need to improve our sustainability, what we can do better, what we can make greener. We've done a lot of great things in bringing solar within the last 2 years on Willowbrook Wildlife and our new net zero building that we're doing for Willowbrook Wildlife with solar and geothermal. So we're doing fantastic work.
Thank you. Sorry, now it's your turn.
No problem.
Candidate Kraus.
Yeah, I'm all about efficiencies, energy efficiency, bringing down any of the electric, gas, or any of the energy used to run our forest reserves and our buildings. And I'm also for planting trees to put oxygen back in the air. We don't have a lot of room for a lot of solar. We're trees. Trees and solar panels don't work good together. And some of the power tools that use for maintenance, some of them can be electric, but we just have to make sure that we're using efficient gas powered, because it's really not efficient to be able to have to recharge your tools all the time to keep going. These are 8-hour days that these people need to work, but wherever it makes sense, we need to look at it. We'll look at everything. But it can't just be flat out, we're all going to solar and electric, because it doesn't make sense in all instances. Thanks.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus. What eastern DuPage County green space could be obtained by DuPage County Forest Preserve to increase it in that area of the county?
You know, I have a couple of spaces in mind, and that would fit in well, because I think they fit in well with the East Branch, and also with connecting our forest preserves. Whatever we do, we need to have interconnectivity of our trails, and so that we can reduce the cost and the gas emissions to go to our forest preserve. You should be able to leave your house and ride your bike or walk to get to a forest preserve. These places can also be called floodplains. Some of the towns right now, they're tearing down houses because they're in floodplains. These can be turned into effective forest preserves. Lyle Park District has a beautiful community park that is part of a floodplain, and once every 2-3 years, it floods for a day or two, and then it recedes, and it's a baseball field, soccer field, multiple use after that. So floodplains could be used for forest preserves, and they could be caught at a pretty inexpensive price. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn.
Yeah, so there's, we actually, all of our land acquisitions, we work in closed session on, so there are quite a few things in District 2 that I'm working with our staff on. Unfortunately, I can't discuss those. But there are definitely some opportunities. Unfortunately, District 2 is very landlocked, so we don't have huge parcels of land that we could have out in District 6 and District 5, which even there, we don't have much open land left to purchase. But we always are looking for land that we can bring on board with the Forest Preserve. But there are always opportunities to work with our partners, and that's what we do. We have quite a few different partnerships with the village, or with the city of Elmhurst here, where we have one of our parks on the south side of Elmhurst is part Forest Preserve, part Park District. We have trails that we work with. We're doing a new overpass over 83 that's in conjunction with the Forest Preserve and the Park District of Elmhurst. So those are things that I look at, trying to build those intergovernmental relationships that we can broaden and expand more.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus. I'm sorry, I'm goofing this all up. Candidate Tyson Dunn, how do you plan to increase the forest canopy in DuPage County?
So again, that goes back to restoration work. You have to get rid of a lot of the invasives, which we have had some people look at it thinking that we're taking out a lot of trees. A lot of those are they're invasive trees, they're not healthy trees. And for our oak savannas to do well, which is what a lot of this area would be, you need to spread out the trees. They need to have light getting to the forest floor so that further oaks can grow. And also bringing in, that gives the healthy balance of trees. You don't want all of your trees to be the same age, because when they start to die, they die all at once. So if you have an semi-open canopy, you have that light coming in to help younger oaks grow and younger native trees growing, as well as our native plants. That semi-open canopy will help let the natives grow as well on the forest floor, which also helps protect all of those saplings and other plants.
Thank you. Candidate Kraus.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of planting long-living trees such as oaks. There's been a trend to plant fast-growing trees in the forest preserves, and unfortunately, fast-growing trees don't have a long life. Oaks will have a long life. They are also resistant to a lot of the different bugs and diseases that happen around here. So I'm all for the indigenous species and planting different ground covers around them so that when the water goes in there, that they can be clean water, and also that they can prosper in that. There is a small balance between, and we must watch between the mature trees and the young ones, and it doesn't always happen natural. We'll have to always be looking at that and doing plantings. Thank you.
Thank you. This would be the final question, unless there are some more. This is the final question. Starting with candidate Kraus. Currently, the DuPage Forest Preserve prohibits concealed carry and hunting within any of the preserves. Would you maintain these policies, or would you advocate for changes or lessening these firearm policies?
I'm not up for really changing them. I would like to review them and make sure that they're following things. People have a right to hunt if this is within the permits, within the regulations of the Forest Preserve. We need a balance there. And everybody has the right to carry a weapon to protect themselves. There's been increased crime in the Forest Preserve, so people need to be able to protect themselves. But I believe all the rules should be followed in the Forest Preserve, and I'm not for taking anything away that I don't see a problem that we're having with it now. Thanks.
Thank you. Candidate Tyson Dunn.
Well, as a gun sense candidate, I am strongly opposed to allowing concealed carry in our forest preserves. We do not allow guns in our forest preserves. Only our rangers carry guns. I kind of have a problem getting my mind around that. Hunting in our forest preserves, again, public safety is has a huge importance to me. We do cull deer once a year, and we have professionals that come in. Our forest preserve is closed when that happens, and they are not an average citizen that comes in and does that. They are I cannot even fathom having hunting on our forest preserves just for public safety standards. And there are some crimes that happen in our parking lots, and we're reviewing further, getting further video cameras and license plate readers coming into our most popular forest preserves, which is bringing down the crime. But we also, we have the safest forest preserves in the Chicagoland area, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the work our officers do, and I just don't want to put that on their shoulders to have to deal with.
Thank you. And now it's time for closing, and we will start with candidate Tyson Dunn. 1 minute, please.
Okay. Again, I want to thank the League for organizing this today and giving us the opportunity to reach our voters and speak to them. I want to just ask for your support. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to votetina.org. Again, one of the largest things that I really support is restoration and preservation work. It's not just about planting trees, it's about the whole forest, it's about the whole ecosystem, the plants, the wildlife, the trees, everything in it needs to be helped and supported. We have the most wonderful staff and volunteers that help do that work, and I want to continue on and support those people doing that work and make sure that that keeps going forward and all the other wonderful, great things that we're doing. We have done so much of our master plan already, and I want to continue and see that master plan finished in the next few years and look forward to building another master plan for our future in the Forest Preserve. And thank you so much. I see my time's up.
Yeah, thank you to League of Women Voters for organizing this. It's always well done. And I ask everybody for your vote out there. I will preserve the preserves. I will make sure that they are restored, they are continually maintained. I will get away from the brick and mortar trends that we have right now. We need to get back to the real thing, what the people look for. The master plans kept coming over and over and over. We need more trails. We need to be able to interconnect our forest preserves with trails. We need to replant the trees. We're forest, that includes the other plants to go along with it to help filter out the water before they go into our water sources. I ask for your vote. You can learn more at krausfp2.com. And any questions, I'm available. You can leave your comments on my website. I'll be happy to talk to you about any of your ideas and incorporate them. I will be a true representative of the people of District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Our time is up for this forum, and we appreciate your participation, whether you are a candidate or a voter. It is essential to preserve our freedom and our country. For more information, please visit the nonpartisan website, illinoisvoterguide.org, where the recording of this forum will be posted on each candidate's page, as well as the League of Women Voters sponsoring tonight's website, League of Women Voters of Elmhurst. Please remember to vote on or before November 8th. Let's all thank the candidates and the Voter Service Committee that organized this forum. Thank you. This section of the forum is between the 4 candidates for DuPage County Board District 2. The candidates have agreed to the ground rules in that no voice, image, or other duplication of the forum may be used by any of the candidates, representatives, or campaign in any campaign advertising. They will each present a 1-minute introductory statement, the order determined alphabetically by last name. Then questions will be asked, and each candidate will have up to 1 minute to respond in alternating order. Closing statements will also be 1 minute. Candidates, please notice the timers. When you see the stop sign, you may finish your sentence, but let's not go on for a paragraph. Our candidates for the DuPage County Board District 2 are Elizabeth Liz Chaplin, Paula Deacon Garcia, Daniel Kordick, and Yena Yu. And now we will start with opening with candidate Chaplin. 1 minute.
Well, thank you. My name is Liz Chaplin, and for the last 20 years, I've been fighting for our community values. As a community activist, I spearheaded the effort to bring safe water to over 800 families in Downers Grove. As an appointed member on the DuPage Water Commission, I worked to clean up and stabilize their finances. As a member of the DuPage County Board, I've worked and fought to keep the essential services people rely on. As the only Democrat elected to 3 terms, I have been the lone voice on matters of gun control, social justice, and immigration. Working, keeping the county healthy and safe, addressing the opioid and mental health crisis, making sure all residents have safe water and clean air, making sure DuPage County is a just and fair community and that all citizens have the opportunity to thrive are my priorities, and I plan to work on these as I continue my service to the people of DuPage County. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia, your opening, please.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming here and for the League of Women Voters for having us here so we could have this informative forum. My name is Paula Deacon Garcia. I am running for District 2, DuPage County Board. And a little bit about me. I live in the Village of Lisle. I have worked for the 20 years for the Village of Lisle before I was elected in 2020 to the DuPage County Board, so I'm asking for re-election this time. Since being on the DuPage County Board, I have fought diligently for stormwater solutions. Flooding in this area in DuPage County is a huge issue. I'm also working diligently to find solutions to break the stigma of mental health issues. That's something that we need to be really concentrating on as that has become a new epidemic in this area. So that's something that I want to find some solutions for. I am one of the strange board members that actually attends all of the committee meetings, because I think in every single committee meeting you find out more information of how you can help and what the solutions are that we are working on as a team. And so in that way I'm actually working to collaborate. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
Good afternoon. I too wish to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I am a product of Elmhurst Public Schools. I graduated from York High School right here in Elmhurst, went on to the University of Illinois, obtained my bachelor's degree in accountancy, passed the CPA exam, went on to law school, received my law degree from the University of Illinois. When I opened my own practice, I chose to do that in Elmhurst, my hometown. I'm a small business owner. Running my law office here. I've been on the school board in Villa Park. I've been on the citizens advisory committees, both on budget and referendum for the schools, economic development. I was on a citizens advisory committee back in 1999 called Vision 2000, which led to new streets and sewers for Villa Park. All these things I just mentioned are nonpartisan. I can work with both sides to be a collegial board member with all of the members. I chose not to run for township clerk, to run for this office. My family, my parents moved here for a better place to live, work, and raise their family in 1962. I want to make sure that the same families moving here have those same opportunities to live, work, and raise their families here.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters for today's forum. My name is Ina Yu, and I do plan to pursue fiscal responsibility and focus on gun safety and enhance social services at the county level. I earned my law degree and my master's in social work from Washington University in St. Louis, and I am a 15-year legal aid attorney, where I advocate for low-income clients and working-class families, including senior citizens, immigrants, and domestic violence survivors. I also serve the community in various ways. I am a founding member and former chair of the Elmhurst chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense. I was recently appointed to the Elmhurst Senior Citizens Commission, and I serve as a volunteer with the League of Women Voters and other service organizations. I live and act on my values, and I now wish to bring my skills as well as my passion and energy over to the DuPage County Board to advocate for residents. I live in South Elmhurst with my husband and my 2 children, Theo and Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. First question. We'll start with candidate Deacon Garcia. What skills, qualities, and experience do you have that you would bring to this office?
Thank you. Some of the skills that I have brought to this office as I'm asking for re-election is that I was a certified floodplain manager for over 10 plus years. So because of that fact, I'm able to understand when we're talking about stormwater issues in the area that what we need to bring, how we need to find solutions, and what the path forward is, and what we can and cannot do in terms of finding solutions. So that has been a great thing. I also, as I said, I worked for the Village of Lisle, so I've worked on the inside of a municipality for 20 plus years. And so I know exactly from meetings exactly how they should work and what we should do to make them be productive and how to be cooperative. And so I think I bring that to the county board in terms of actually bringing some kind of spirit of working together as a team. So those are some of the things that I bring. I also bring a lot of other things, but I know my time is just about up, so I'm going to say we'll pass it on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
I believe I bring skills in both my academic background, my business background, my community service, and public offices that I've held. My accounting background will help me in analyzing budgets to conserve taxpayer dollars. My business background, I have my own business. I do my own payroll. I hire my own employees. And running the county should be run like a business. Community service, everything as I mentioned, the school board I was on, advisory committees, things that were for the community, not one political side versus the other. My public service extends over 30 years, and it's not like I just put a couple things on there recently to pad my resume. I have been active in my communities of Elmhurst, Villa Park, and Oak Brook, where I now live throughout my adult life. With all due respect to our colleagues who are on the county board, I humbly feel that my experience is so wide, varying, and diverse that I would serve well on the county board.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
So I will come into this office with the experience of being a career legal aid attorney, where I'm working with disadvantaged populations, low-income clients. They have the same issues that our DuPage residents have. I'm fighting for people who are dealing with food insecurity and housing insecurity, who are seeking mental health treatment, and people who have consumer law issues and really just need help. And I think that DuPage residents will understand that I have a true commitment to service. And in addition, I have the experience as being a domestic violence and family law litigator. That was my specialty actually for over 10 years. And so I have experience at the negotiating table with opposing counsel and speaking civilly and with respect and effectively in judges' chambers with even abusive spouses and partners. So I know that I can work across the political divide. And in addition, I've been a gun safety advocate, where I'm dealing with a not very easy issue to talk with, but I am talking with community agencies and with people and also with other elected officials, and I'm always pushing forward the agenda. So for all these reasons, I believe that I will have plenty of experience for the county board.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, for the past 20 years, I've been working on behalf of the citizens of DuPage County. When I served on the Water Commission, I was the only woman on that board, and I had the courage to ask the tough questions, challenge the status quo, and engage in honest debate. And that is what I do on the county board as well. You have to understand the issue, ask the questions, and be fearless. We have a lot of board members that won't ask a question, that won't challenge, that won't push back. So I think having the experience of serving on these boards, I told the Water Commission they couldn't sustain what they were doing financially. They all ignored me, and a forensic audit was done and said, Member Chaplin warned them that they could not continue on the path they were on, and the Water Commission ran out of money. On the DuPage County Board, I have been, like I said, I've been challenging those tough questions, challenging the status quo, and working hard for the people. So just the experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Starting with Candidate Kordick on this one. What are one or two of the biggest challenges facing the county currently, and what are some of your solutions?
The two biggest challenges are inflation in the economy, our pocketbooks, and public safety, not necessarily in that order. Public safety, a person cannot be free if a person is not safe. We have had an increase in crime in DuPage County. The state legislature has passed the Safety Act, which eliminates cash bail for many serious offenses. 100 of our 102 state's attorneys in this state are against this Safety Act. It is not making things safer, it's making things less safe, so people will be let out without cash bail onto the streets of DuPage County. Other biggest issue is the economy. We have inflation. I think it was fueled by what happened in Washington. So we just need to conserve our dollars now. No tax increases. The county board doubled the gasoline sales tax in this county. I've taken a pledge to oppose all new tax increases.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
So I actually believe that one of the biggest challenges right now for the county is, in fact, mental health. The county health department has actually had a huge increase in the number of calls to their behavioral crisis center. And mental health has not only been linked to opioid deaths as well as poverty, and also it is strongly linked to gun violence. And gun violence is a big, big priority of mine as a gun safety candidate. And in fact, along with access to weapons, mental health is strongly connected to mass shootings and gun suicides and unintentional shootings by minor children. So I think the county needs to make a strong investment in increasing mental health services. That can come in the form of expanding outpatient services in the community, particularly community-based mental health agencies that can serve middle schools and high schools. I also believe we can do more wraparound services with regard to substance abuse treatments. I think that there is so much more that we can do in the judicial criminal system, in our homeless centers, as well as in schools.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Thank you. And I just want to set the record straight right away. DuPage County crime is not going up. State's Attorney Bob Berlin came to our judicial public safety meeting last month and in fact told us that crime is going down in DuPage County. So that's really great news, and kudos to our sheriff and our state's attorney and our public defenders and everyone that is working very hard to keep DuPage safe. What I'm hearing that the most important issue is right now, one of the biggest issues we're facing right now is food insecurity. We have learned from our food pantries that vegetables are coming in spoiled. There's not enough food to feed the people that need it. So right now, the county, we're working on a plan to deliver our food from Northern Illinois Food Bank to our local pantries in a quicker manner so that food can get there fresh and that people can actually have, good food when they go to the food pantries. And I was surprised to learn, that we were hearing from our food pantries that they were having this problem. To me, if we're not making sure that our residents have food, have clean water, clean air, and housing, we're not doing our jobs. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Thank you so much. And I too have to agree with candidate. You hear that one of the greatest things we're dealing with in the county is mental health. I was appointed to the DuPage County Health Department 2 times, and during that time, I became a part of the Behavioral Collaborative, and we've been dealing with issues in terms of mental health. One thing that I want to see come forward that would help this issue is called a Central Receiving Center. It's a CRC, and what that is if people are arrested, like the police are called because someone's having a mental health issue at their homes, instead of taken to the correctional center, they would be taken to the Central Receiving Center, and they will get the treatment that they need. They will meet with counselors, and that's something that is coming to the DuPage County campus. I would love to see it come to fruition. It's coming up in the near future. Another one I have to agree with is the food insecurity, but also with that, and I have to say that I am the chair of the DuPage County, or the Lisle Township Food Pantry vegetable growers, so I've been growing fresh produce for them for the last 7 years, and I'm out of time. Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Question 3, we'll start with candidate Yu. Recent statistics indicate that DuPage County has seen a reduction in opioid-related overdoses, but an increase in the overall number of overdoses. As a member of the county board, how would you adapt current strategies to address this trend?
So I think a lot of people understand that naloxone treatment is one of the, or is it Naxalone treatment is one of the main things that we can do to prevent opioid deaths, but that's not the only thing that we need to be doing. We need to, again, provide wraparound services and to really address this issue. Particularly, there are things that are evidence-based strategies that include recovery coaches and immediate connection to people who will follow up with these people who are addicted to opioids. So I think these wraparound services are the best way that we can handle this issue, and I know that the county board is already working to do a lot of that, and I feel that as long as we are coordinating with other mental health agencies to do this, the better it will be.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Thank you. Yes, it's very important that education about opioids, we really need to get the word out on how dangerous they are. The county board did sign on to a lawsuit, and we are going to be getting some money from that lawsuit and put that into education on the dangers of opioids. We really have to work with our physicians and our schools to make sure that they are educating people on how addictive these drugs are. But I really think the main thing with the opioids and from the county standpoint is educating the public on the dangers of the opioids. Thank you.
Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Yeah, again, I'm going to kind of sound like a record on repeat. Mental health issues are sometimes the main cause for the overdose or the use of opioids, because people are trying to actually stop the pain in their body. And that's one reason that they're using those. So I have to agree with candidate Chaplin here that we have to do education. One question I did ask of our drug court judge was that, why are they continuing to put fentanyl into drugs that are being sold? If they're killing people, they're basically killing the people that they're buying it. And she said it's just due to greed. It's due to just putting it in there, and it's just, we have to just tell people that you have to be on the lookout for your own safety, because it's everywhere. And we have to make sure that the word is out there. We also have to kind of work with, we are working with non-for-profits who are out there. And I cannot highly suggest that everyone get Narcan and have it on their person, because then everyone will be totally able to help someone if they find someone in need.
Thank you.
I agree. Education is the best solution. Many of the mental health issues are also drug-related. But going back to the SAFETY Act, that SAFETY Act decriminalized possession of fentanyl at certain amounts up to 3 ounces. That's enough to kill a lot of people. The sheriff of DuPage County has done an excellent job. In fact, he says half the people that are arrested have some type of alcohol or drug issue that's going on when they're arrested. And he's done a great job of rehabilitation. And it would be a shame if some of these people in need of rehabilitation are just let out back into the public without the assistance that they need.
Thank you. Question 4, starting with candidate Chaplin. How would you address those DuPage residents who experience food insecurity? Touched on that a little already.
Yeah, we did. Well, as I said, as a county board member, I feel it is our responsibility. Like I said, if we are not providing food, if we are not assisting with shelter, and if we are not making sure our citizens have clean water, we're not doing our job. I'm very proud of the fact that the DuPage County Board allocated $10 million to our nonprofits. We are working with the DuPage Foundation, and we are working on transformational grants that focus on food insecurity, mental health, substance abuse, and affordable housing or interim housing. So the county board is aware we need to make sure that people have food. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done in providing the assistance to our nonprofits to help other nonprofits get food out to our residents. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, one thing that we've seen, and I've seen in the work at the garden where I'm at, is that the produce coming into our food pantries is not coming in fresh anymore, because what they're doing, because of the increase in the price of groceries, is that they're keeping it on the shelves longer. So then by the time it gets donated to people at the food pantries, it's not in as good a shape anymore. And so what we're hoping to do at the county level is to perhaps, and that's what the $10 million is, to try to buy some refrigerated trucks so we can get it fresher from places to the food pantries, so that very quickly they can get that, and so that people, because I know that I have a compost area in behind my garden that's getting filled with produce every day that is just not even edible. And so it's just kind of a disappointment. So I think there are so many things we can do on the county board level in terms of trying to give the help to the people who need it, so we can get to the produce, to the food pantries faster and make it all work out better.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
So September 14th, just a week and a half ago, the county agreed to provide money to alleviate food insecurity. They gave $1.7 million to the Northern Illinois Food Bank to allow for the purchase of fresh produce, diapers, and other personal hygiene products. $1 million to the Northern Illinois Food Bank's 46 partner agencies in DuPage County. $2.25 million for investments in distribution infrastructure. All this money came from the surplus caused by federal COVID money. Well, that money is not going to be around in the future because of us getting on top of the COVID epidemic. DuPage County has very good food pantries. As a York Township clerk, I saw the need that we have served by York Township's food pantry, as well as local food pantries, Loaves and Fishes, the walk-in ministry here in Elmhurst. The Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot has raised over $3.9 million to feed the poor in DuPage County. But give a man a fish and you find him food for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. That's what we need: good schools, good jobs, so people can be self-sufficient.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
Yeah, so I actually do agree with Mr. Kordick here, because he is stating that we do need to have good jobs and good schools, and that is truly, truly important. Because since the pandemic, there has been a lot of food issues, supply issues, rising demand, despite the fact that unemployment has actually decreased. So the presentation that he was talking about, and the fact that the board actually passed, it didn't happen on September 14, but actually on September 13. I was actually watching as well for the Finance Committee hearing, as well as the board. And I'm happy to say that yes, the DuPage County Board did in fact allocate that $5 million additional money because of this rising need. I think the most exciting thing about it, though, is that they're going to be doing wholesale and direct purchasing. They're going to be changing the way they purchase groceries, especially fresh produce, and they're going to be including, diaper items and personal hygiene items. I think that is also very important. The county board has a lot of resources at its disposal, and I think it's important to make sure that we make that investment into food insecurity, and if elected to the county board, I will continue to make that a priority.
Thank you. Question 5. Candidate Deacon Garcia, we'll start with you. What do you see as the biggest challenge regarding mental health care in DuPage County, and how would you begin to address it?
I think I've already explained this, but I will do it again. The biggest health change, the biggest challenge to health right now, mental health right now, is to actually break the stigma, because right now the stigma is what's actually stopping people from getting the need that they desire or they want, because they are afraid to state, I'm having a problem. So making it more normalized in our community and making it able to say, because it's just like if you have a cold or if you have anything else, you should be able to say, I have a mental health issue right now and I need to go take time and I need to get help. The one thing on the county board is what we're trying to do is find a way to break the stigma, and with the Central Receiving Center, with Behavioral Health Collaborative, through our DuPage County Health Department, we're trying to find solutions so we can get people in there. Another group that's been fantastic in DuPage County is NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. They do things that are fantastic in our community, and we have a great support system with them, and so those are just a few ways in which we could break the stigma.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
You think of going to the doctor when you have a headache or some physical ailment, but truly we need to also consider mental illnesses as serious as physical illnesses. Education will help that. And really, I know the needs are great and they're increasing, but the best solution is to strengthen the family support system. The breakdown of our families has contributed to a lot of these mental health issues.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
So I recently talked with the city manager for the village of Lombard, and he told me that multiple times at these public community events that they've had incidents where somebody with mental health has come, maybe they're nude, there are issues that are obviously happening, and it's difficult because law enforcement agencies are not really equipped to deal with people who have mental illness. And so actually I think there's a very little known program through DuPage County, and it's actually mobile units, and there are mental health professionals who will actually be able to come along with law enforcement agencies to help in these situations. And in fact, I also did a police ride-along, and they were telling me that it's hard because law enforcement officers want to do law enforcement issues, and they should really have the help of social workers to help and deal with the social work issues as well as the mental health issues. And so that is something I think that we really need to focus on in order to help out with this mental health issue.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Could you please repeat the question?
Sure. What do you see the biggest challenge what do you see is the biggest challenge regarding mental health care in DuPage County, and how would you begin to address it?
Yeah, I agree with the stigma of mental health, but also I think what we're seeing, Member Garcia and I attended a meeting earlier this week on gun prevention, gun violence prevention, and it talked a lot about mental health and seeing something and saying something. So I believe we have to educate people that mental health is not something to be ashamed of, but a medical illness. And when we see something, say something. If you see a child that's struggling or a colleague that is having a hard time, make sure you reach out to them, ask them if things are okay. Taking care of your neighbor. I think these are ways that we can help address mental health and address the stigma, because there's that saying now that people are saying it's okay to not be okay, and we have to let people know that.
Thank you. Starting with candidate Kordick. Question 6, what will you do to reach out to other board members, both in and out of your party, to improve collaboration and reach solutions that are in the best interests of the residents of DuPage County?
I think I've actually done that by serving on the nonpartisan committees that I have. The school board is nonpartisan. Planning and zoning is nonpartisan. If you asked any of the people I've served with, I think they will all report that I've been a collegial board member. I listen to all sides. I'm an arbitrator in DuPage County. I hear the evidence from both sides, hear all the evidence, hear all the facts before making a decision. I will be the same on the DuPage County Board. When I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission, I was actually serving, my term had ended, and the village president of Villa Park knew I was leaving town, and she ran for Congress as a Democrat. She's a Democrat, but still my friend. She asked me to stay on, past my term, to continue serving based on my experience, knowledge, and ability to get along with my fellow board members, and I will take that same position when I'm on the DuPage County Board.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
So I have two thoughts. The first being that I think there is a way to guard against partisanship and to reach across the aisle, and that is really to keep taxpayer interests in mind. If you're thinking about your constituents and what is the best for them, I think it's really easy to go across the aisle to talk to other people, as long as your motivation is that you really care about the issue and you really care about the people. The second thing is I think there are some boards that actually work to do training exercises, and they actually go on retreats, and they specifically go so that there can be more bipartisanship and more cooperation and more communication, and those are all things that we can do more even at the county board. And I don't believe that they even have any type of retreat or anything like that. And because I have been working across the aisle in the sense as a domestic violence litigator, talking with an abusive spouse or the opposing counsel, their interests are completely unaligned with my own, and I'm still able to speak with respect and civility to everybody. And I think that makes a difference as well.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Yes, thank you. So working across the aisle is very important. One of the things I'm proudest of, when the Democrats took control of the DuPage County Board, when we were going through our committee assignments, we made sure that there was, if we had a Democratic chair of a committee, the vice chair was a Republican. If we put a Republican in as a chair of a committee, we made a Democrat the vice chair. That courtesy was not extended under Republican leadership. So I'm very proud of the fact that we made it a priority to have a Democrat and Republican working together as chair and vice chair to encourage bipartisanship on those committees. And I think it's worked very well on the Finance Committee, which I chair, and I think it's worked well on many of the other committees. And also, I have a long history of working in a bipartisan manner. I was appointed twice by the Republican County Chair, Bob Schillestrom, to the Water Commission. I was appointed and reappointed. And I'm the only Democrat elected to 3 terms, serving at one point as the only Democrat on the board. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am very proud of the way that we are all working together for the issues on the DuPage County Board right now. I'm one that works on facts, and I work on, as candidate you said here, the issues. We've got to work on the facts and the issues, and with that, we often are able to work together. I am the co-chair of the Intergovernmental committee, and with that I actually co-chair that with a mayor of a town who is actually Republican, and we do that very well, very professionally. I work on many committees that are run by Republican committee people, and I feel that we work together great as a team. So I think it's already happening on the DuPage County Board. Is there always way for improvement? I actually think the candidate Yu's idea of some kind of some time of getting together in a meeting or some kind of a retreat so we can get together and actually talk about the issues and the facts and stick to the facts in a way that we can get better for our community. It would be the best way to probably go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Yu. Given the results of the recent FBI audit of the DuPage County Sheriff's Department, what steps would you take to improve accountability and oversight?
So, since the Democrats have actually had majority of the county board, we have given millions of dollars to the DuPage County Sheriff, and we have increased public safety, and as other people have stated currently, we have decreased crime in DuPage County. And there are certain things that I would really like to scrutinize when it comes to their budget, in the sense that they just recently asked for what was it, $5 million? $10 million for a garage to house a lot of their police vehicles. And I think that $10 million could be done and put and allocated to so many other programs that are truly necessary. And so that's one of the things that I would really like to do, is as a member of the county board, is really take the moment to scrutinize what is needed, and also make sure that we have surveys and feedback and input from all the stakeholders as to what kind of programs are actually evidence-based and are producing effective and good results. And if we can't do that, then we are not going to continue to just blank check to the DuPage County Sheriff.
Candidate Chaplin.
Yes, thank you. So the sheriff has his own elected official, is responsible for running his department. The only authority that the county board has over the sheriff's department is the budget. So that is the only way we can rein the sheriff in. As far as the investigation with the FBI and what was going on there, again, I said he's his own elected official, so that would be up to the voters to grade him or to, decide if they want to keep him in as the sheriff. But the only way that we can rein that sheriff in is through our budget process. And I am very proud of the fact that the Democrats have fully funded public safety, and we have increased the number of sheriffs. We have allocated more money so that the sheriff can have more officers. But again, as far as that investigation goes, that is really out of the scope of the county board.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Yeah, in regards to the audit that was done at the Sheriff's Department, the only thing that I find as a county board member that was frustrating is that we did have a county board member that did ask the question of our sheriffs in regards to it before it became public knowledge in the newspapers. And at that point in time, the sheriffs that were at the podium stated that it was due to an audit and now we found that might not be truthful. So what I would like from the sheriff's office always and all the people who come before the county board is truth. And so if a question is asked, please just be truthful to us. Member Chaplain's correct. We don't really have any kind of responsibility other than giving them through the chair's budget, what they are going to be able to spend. Once they get that money, they can spend it how they want it. But when we did one piece of paper asking for $10.5 million for a garage, we're going to ask for more information, which we did.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
My accounting background, having passed the CPA exam, I will root out wrongdoing. And let me say this was not the sheriff personally, but there are bad eggs in any group. There are bad lawyers, bad doctors, bad teachers, but I believe that Sheriff Medrick does an excellent job. I am honored to be endorsed by Sheriff Jim Medrick for this race, and funding the Sheriff's Department is important, and as a county board member, I will make public safety a high budget priority.
Thank you. Starting with Candidate Chaplain. For some voters, for some voters, the impending elimination of cash bail intensifies existing concerns about crime and safety. Given that so many criminal justice decisions are made within the court system, what would you, as a DuPage County board member, do to address these concerns?
Well, again, that's out of the scope of the county board jurisdiction, but what I can tell you and what I've learned about the Safety Act is that cash bail does not lead to criminals on the street. I mean, ending cash bail will not lead to criminals on the street. And right now, we have criminals that can get out on the street that have committed a crime. If they have the money to pay a bail amount, they can get out of jail. With the new system, defendants or detainees will go before the judge. They will have a long hearing, not a 5-minute hearing, but a detailed hearing on whether that person poses a threat and whether they're a flight risk. And those are the two determinations on whether they will have bail or not. And from what I understand, there is no offense that is not detainable. So those are my comments on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Thank you so much. This is a great time to actually clear up a lot of misinformation, and I'm glad that Member Chaplain started to do that. I asked the specific question of our Chief Pope, Kenneth Popejoy, exactly what's going to happen when the cash bail ends in January. And his exact answer was, we're going to take the people who are in the correctional center, we're going to give them all hearings based on what they've done and based on the criteria that Member Chaplain has just put out there. And we're going to determine whether they stay in the correctional center or whether they are released on bail. It's all going to be determined by the judges. So this is something that, again, that we have to make very clear, that people who get out, who do awful things in our county right now, if they have the money, they are released right now. They can pay the bail and they are part of society right now. And so if you're saying this is going to make you safer, not necessarily, because right now the people that are doing the same thing just are richer. And we're just making it more equitable. Thank you.
Candidate Kordick.
The Safety Act has specific provisions in there for non-detainable offenses, including aggravated batteries, robberies, burglaries, aggravated DUI, and vehicular homicide. drug-induced homicides. Illinois, 100 of the 102 state's attorneys are against this because the judges do not have discretion. Bob Berlin recognizes we're not going to get rid of it, but it needs major revisions, particularly with regard to cash bail in these particular offenses. You have a high standard of showing that this person is a threat to a particular person and is a high likelihood of willful flight to avoid prosecution. Are the assistant state's attorneys going to have to show they got a plane ticket out of town? It is a very high standard. New Jersey also has a safety act, but it gives the judges discretion to detain on offenses. Our state statute is specific with detention categories. Bob Berlin actually wrote a letter to the editor of the Daily Herald saying that he recognizes we're not going to get rid of this, but we need to allow the judge's discretion to make a case-by-case basis.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
So I disagree with Mr. Kordick's assessment. As an attorney also, I have looked at the Pretrial Detention Act, which is a portion of the Safety Act that we are talking about. And it specifically states that detention shall only be imposed when it is determined that a defendant poses a quote-unquote specific, real, and present threat to a person or has a high likelihood of willful flight. And that is at the judge's discretion, and that has always been at the judge's discretion. There is no change. The only difference is that this act now means that a person who was detained in 2016 for a petty theft of a backpack will now be released, because they don't have to pay a $3,000 bond that their family is unable to afford. This is something that is going to help my low-income clients. And it, in fact, also helps domestic violence survivors, because now, through this act, it's not currently possible, but through this act, domestic violence abusers can also be detained longer because they don't have the ability just to pay their bail or not bail. So I actually really appreciate the Safety Act.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia. Recently, the county board discussed the possibility of permitting the sale of marijuana in unincorporated areas of the county. What is your position on the placement of dispensaries on the border of local municipalities that rejected establishing dispensaries?
Thank you for this question. I have never been against any business wanting to open in any county. I think that would be anti-business. So if a business wants to open and it's legal in the county, which hopefully with this it will be, then that's something that they would have to determine, and whether that they would be able to follow the guidelines that are in our code in terms of opening the business in the county for the dispensary of marijuana. I'm going to take this back to mental health, because a lot of people who have mental health issues, they use this. And so this is something that's needed in this area, and it's already proven by some of, and I think I can't remember, 11 municipalities that I think have approved to opt in. I can't remember if that's the correct number, but we've already proven that there is no increase in crime, there's no problems with it. So the only problem that I see that some municipalities who have opted out are just a little late to the game, is what it is. So we can't stop that from the county. Thank you.
Candidate Kordick.
Having served on the Villa Park Planning and Zoning Commission, there were certain uses that were legal that we felt not desirable in certain areas. So we made those types of businesses go to the industrial park. Cannabis distribution store should not be right next to schools, and you can regulate that by planning and zoning. The DuPage County has its own planning and zoning committee as well, and that's the way to assure that they're not in appropriate places. You don't want that by schools.
Candidate Yu.
So marijuana is now legal in the state of Illinois. Everybody understands that. And the county board is well within its right to allow these marijuana dispensaries to be at these unincorporated areas. And I think it's just important to have communication between the county board and these municipalities that decided to opt out, just to make sure that it's not so in proximity to certain schools and other things. And as Mr. Kordick mentioned, that there are zoning and planning practices. There are many ordinances and other regulations that these marijuana dispensaries have to follow. And so I don't have too many concerns about those marijuana dispensaries.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Thank you. As the member of the county board that led this effort, I'm very proud that the county board unanimously supported our resolution, I believe it was at the last meeting, to lift the prohibition of marijuana sales in the unincorporated area. With regards to butting up to a municipality that does not allow it, 17 municipalities have opted in, though all of them do not have dispensaries right now. There are a certain amount of licenses that are handed out. I believe there were 180 some licenses handed out for Region 5, which we are in. And there are, I believe, 160 people that have licenses in our district. For example, I know Lyle was a little concerned with our resolution, and that we would put dispensaries on their border. But Naperville allows legal cannabis, and they are right on the border. They opened a shop right on the border of Naperville and Lyle, and there have been no issues. So I really don't think it's a huge issue. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. This is the last question. And we'll start with candidate Kordick. The federal government defines housing as affordable when rent plus utilities are no more than 30% of the occupant's monthly income. In DuPage County, about 30% of the households pay more than this towards housing and are cost burdened, which means they are making tough choices between spending their income on housing or on other essentials, such as food, transportation, and health care. What role should the county play in addressing the discrepancy between the needs for affordable housing and the current supply?
DuPage County has a plan that I do support in analyzing and addressing the impediments to fair housing in DuPage County. We have communities, Addison, Bensonville, have over 40% affordable housing. Glendale Heights has almost 1/2 of its housing stock is affordable housing, and Hanover Park is greater than 1/2. There have surprisingly been very few complaints about housing discrimination at the Hope Fair Housing Center. In 2019, the last year of the publication I'm referring to, there were only 119 for the entire county of DuPage. I do not feel the county's role should mandate to a particular municipality what policy it should have. Elmhurst, for example, has home rule. They have not submitted a fair housing policy, and that's their right to do that as a home rule community. The best way to address fair housing is good employers that bring good jobs, attract employees so that they can make ends meet and support their families.
Thank you. Candidate Yu.
The majority of my clients have problems finding affordable housing and have, in fact, been unable to pay for housing. They are paying more than 30% of their monthly income. So I am familiar with this issue. And in fact, I spent some time researching affordable housing trusts. This is what they do in Arlington Heights. And recently, accessory dwelling units. That's something that just got passed in Evanston and in other communities, and it is being maybe considered in Elmhurst as well. So that is one of those things where multi-generational households can live in one place through an accessory dwelling unit, and that is another way to increase affordable housing in our county. I think DuPage County has a very important role in working with municipalities. You know, there are many cities, Elgin, Arlington Heights, and other places that are working with developers to create affordable housing development that will not only house senior citizens, people with developmental disabilities, but people who are also working families. So I think that is important that we do this too.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Yes, thank you. Affordable housing is a real issue in DuPage County. especially for our younger kids that are graduating college that want to maybe work in DuPage where they grew up and they can't. And I'm proud because Member Garcia and I have worked on accessory dwelling units for DuPage County. And I believe we just passed our first one a month or two ago through our development committee. And that is a great first step. And you will hear a lot of support for affordable housing for elderly and for disabled. But we're missing a whole segment of affordable housing for our minority families that just are not making enough money. So I think we are discussing it in our Health and Human Service Committee, as well as our Community Development Committee. It is a very difficult subject because there are so many people that have so many misconceptions about affordable housing.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
Thank you so much. And I have to just totally disagree with candidate Kordick here. Affordable housing is a big issue here. Believe me, I have my son living in my basement. So I absolutely know that there are problems with sons and daughters that are wanting to get out on their own in DuPage County, and they cannot find something that fits their means. They're working really hard. They've got jobs. There just is nothing where they can stay around the neighborhoods that they want to and be able to afford it. So it is a true problem. There is some great ideas that are coming out of a lot of areas, but we have to find developers who want to build them. So it's going to be a cooperation between the DuPage County board members and the municipal members to try to find land. We just need 3.2 acres of land to try to get some kind of a good project done. That was done in Elgin, and it's fantastic. And it's 1212 Larkin Avenue, and it's great for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to go to closing, and we're going to go in reverse order. So we're going to start with candidate Yu.
The purpose of this forum is for candidates to reveal who we are and what our platforms are based upon. And so at the very core of who I am a woman, and I believe in a woman's right to choose for her own body and for her health and for her future. I'm a mother, and I will fight to the end to protect my school-aged children and to protect your children and your grandchildren, and I will govern with gun safety in mind at the county board level. I am also an immigrant, and I've experienced exclusion, racial bias, and racial animus, and I'm going to take my perspective as a person of color to the county board. And lastly, I'm a legal aid attorney and a social worker, and so I care deeply about people who are seeking help. So my values are demonstrated by the work that I do and the service I bring to my community. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And I bring more than qualified experience, but also my character to the county board, as do the women I sit here with, Liz and Paula. So I ask that you please remember to vote for us, to remember to vote for Ina Yu for District 2 as well.
Thank you. Candidate Kordick.
I bring over 30 years of public service experience. I have the educational background and the public service background and community involvement background to carefully scrutinize all expenditures, save taxpayer dollars. Public safety, the economy, and inflation are the biggest issues. People want to be safe. Businesses will come here if they know this is a safe community. Inflation can best be battled by people having good jobs, earning money, good schools, so you can further yourself. Neither of my parents ever went to college, and because of the opportunities I had here in Elmhurst, I was able to further my education and further myself. We need the next generation to have such opportunities. I'm against any tax increases. I bring 30 years of diversified experience from every level of government. If you look at votekordick.com, KORDIK.com, you'll see I have 70 endorsements from everyone from someone who ran for the highest office in this state to mayors to people who were on the Planning and Zoning Commission with me. And I will bring that diversity and breadth of experience and ask for your vote for DuPage County Board.
Thank you. Candidate Deacon Garcia.
First of all, thank you so much, League of Women Voters, for having us here. I really appreciate that. I am Paula Deacon Garcia, and I want to be clear, really clear with some misinformation. You know, I'm running for county board, so let's make sure that that's what you're voting for. We don't have any kind of ability to vote on any kind of Safety Act changes. We don't have anything, this is what we can do. We can fight for affordable housing, which we're doing through our Community Services Department, and I'm very proud to be working with them and on that committee. We can work for environmental changes, sustainability. We're working with our Environmental Services Department through the Development Department, Building and Zoning Department, and we're able to find changes that will bring, because climate change is real. Didn't really touch on that today too much, but it's real. And there are so many things that on the county board we're able to touch that are so important, from mental health to affordable houses, to food insecurity, to stormwater, to transportation, the roads that you drive on. So I'm PDG for DuPage, and you can check out my website. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Chaplin.
Yes, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this important forum today. As I said in my opening comments, you know, we have critical needs in DuPage County that still have to be met. We have the mental illness and the opioid crisis. We have to keep our county healthy and safe. There were people not too long ago in DuPage that had toxic air. We have toxic water. I want to make sure, I worked so hard to help people in Willowbrook fight sterigenics. I've helped so many people throughout the county access safe water. These are very important issues. These are the local issues that matter and that impact you the most. So I would like to take my experience that I've had over the last 20 years and continue working on these important matters. And I'm very, very proud to be on the, well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for running, because it's a very hard thing to do. And as the lone Democrat, I am very proud to be running with these two wonderful ladies that I have as running mates. So I'm just very proud of that. So thank you.
Thank you. You have heard from 4 of the 6 candidates that are running for this particular office. The League of Women Voters policy is to invite all candidates running for offices in contested races. 2 of the candidates, Sean Noonan and Nicole Giannini, did not reply to the invitation from the Elmhurst League of Women Voters. So what you have here are the 4 that responded positively and signed the agreement to participate. So this is the end of our forum, and I think that at this point in time, we need to give applause to the candidates that showed up for this. And we appreciate their participation and your participation, whether you are a candidate or a voter. It is essential to preserve our freedom and our country. For more information, please visit the nonpartisan website, illinoisvoterguide.org, where the recording of this forum will be posted on each of the candidates' page, as well as the League of Women Voters of Elmhurst for sponsoring today's forum. Please remember to vote on or before November 8th. And let's thank all of the candidates and the people that participated today. Thank you very much.